absolutely bananas day in the NFL. Week 4, Sunday. Oh, my goodness. I don't even know what to say, but I can tell you this. We're excited to be here tonight. This is Primetime Early Edge, your daily sports betting brand of record. All of our odds are presented by our good friends at the king of all sports books, BetMGM. We are powered by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all sports betting, and it's not even close. Today, much like college, my goodness, the hook got so many different bets, winning and losing. I want to know what my guys think the craziest game today was. So let's bring in the stars of the show. You know them. You love them. Here on a Sunday night, I have the absolute very best. We run it 5 wide. My man Proppy is here. The counselor is here. AB is here. Coach Phil is absolutely here. Gentlemen, where did I put my notes? Oh, my goodness. I don't even need them.
You don't need notes. No one needs them.
I know I need this because I just don't feel right. Oh, now this feels better. So today, it just got over a few minutes ago. Dallas absolutely pounds Bill Belichick 38-3. The Cardinals dropped 2 touchdowns in the final 15 seconds to not cover. 49ers cover the 14.5. The Chargers up 17 at halftime. Brandon Staley strikes again, and they somehow hang on by 7. Those 3 late games. And the Chicago Bears, I don't even know what they were doing today. But, gentlemen, I want to come to you. Counselor, I'm going to start with you. Of all the banana finishes today, not even finish, just games, what surprised you the most?
I got to give a shout out to my Commanders here because it surprised me that they were in the game through 4 quarters and they were doing it sort of in a way that I don't think people anticipated. Sam Howell looked really good. And for the record, Terry McLaurin in overtime caught like a 30-yard bomb, and it was ruled out of bounds, and it was actually in bounds as far as my eyes could see. So, it's interesting because now all of a sudden the Dallas Cowboys look really good, just absolutely smashing the Patriots. I don't know what to think of some of these teams that we think are really strong and potentially really weak, but the Eagles look vulnerable. Dallas looked dominant. Let's see what happens next week.
And the Bengals, my lock of the week, looked putrid. Titans, who couldn't even score a touchdown, they look like world beaters today. The Browns, winning last week, no Deshaun Watson, they get pounded. How about the Texans? They beat the Steelers handily. C.J. Stroud over 300 yards. AB, let me come to you. I just named off 3 or 4 more banana results today. What about you?
Yeah, right there. First off, what's going down with the Bengals? All right, this is week to week here. We've seen 1 good performance and 3 negative ones. But the Houston Texans, you nailed it right there. This offense is playing its tails off, man. DeMeco Ryans is doing a heck of a job coaching that team. They do not have a super high level of talent yet, but they will. And he's doing a heck of a job coaching that team. And Stroud's doing a heck of a job playing quarterback. This is what, its 4th game in the NFL? Dude's showing out, man. Got a huge shout out to the Texans.
Oh, I apologize. So the game I got out here on local TV, Proppy, I'll come to you, was the Rams and the Colts. And we talked about Nakua before the game, and he's set all kinds of NFL records. 39 catches in 4 games. He had 10 for, 160 today, 170 today, and the game winner in overtime. So the Colts couldn't cover after coming back from 20 down at halftime. Bananas. From a prop perspective, what surprised you the most?
What an exciting day of football. That was certainly really interesting. Watching Anthony Richardson come back down 3 scores, never seemed rattled, played very well. I was very impressed with his resiliency. I think Anthony Richardson is headed for very big things. Love what we saw from C.J. Stroud and the Texans. Shout out Nico Collins with a huge game, $150 to go along with 2 touchdowns. He's top 10 now in pretty much every single receiving category. Very impressive. Kind of out of nowhere, too. I don't think many people had Nico Collins potentially as a wide receiver 1, at least for fantasy statistical purposes coming into this season. But I was really impressed with this Bills offense and the shellacking they put on the Dolphins. They were just impressive in all phases, offensively, defensively, special teams. Stephon Diggs with the huge day. Josh Allen was just carving them up. Unfortunate that we saw Tre'Davious White, unfortunately, suffer a season-ending injury. But yeah, just some great football, some great individual performances across the board.
Yeah, Diggs 6 for 120, 3 touchdowns. Josh Allen, another near perfect performance. 21 of 25, 320 and 4 scores. Real quick, AB, yes?
Yeah, real quick. Just want to give a shout out to Prop Stars himself at 12 p.m. Eastern earlier today. He literally said the Texans are a better team than the Steelers. They're going to win this game. So shout out to my man there. He absolutely drilled that.
Yes, he did. Coach Phil, you always look at games from a different perspective
Sure.
than the rest of us. What did you make it today?
I took the Buffalo Bills performance and the way that Sean McDermott went about the week. He went and told the media, a la Bill Belichick, that the Miami Dolphins were a revolutionary offense. So what did he do with that one statement? He shifted all the power to Miami and all the pressure to Miami. So then to go out there after you've made a volley like that, saying they're really, really good, going out there and shutting them down, it magnifies the performance that you just did. So my wife's Buffalo Bills are rolling right now.
Well, you know who does not have a legendary offense, an innovative offense? The New York Jets, Jets. And they are playing Sunday Night Football tonight. Of course, this is supposed to be Patrick Mahomes against Aaron Rodgers, the former State Farm spokesman and State Farm spokesman who got fired last year. But alas, that's not going to happen. We have the Fighting Zach Wilsons tonight. And a funny little nugget, if Zach Wilson loses tonight, he will match the loss total for Patrick Mahomes in his career. Mahomes is 66-17. Zach Wilson is 8-16 as a starter. A mismatch in all the words that you can describe. I need to know keys of the game before we get to our best bets. Coach Phil, you're up first.
Yeah, so we got the 2-1 Chiefs traveling on the road to MetLife to take on the Jets. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the Kansas City Chiefs. I always talk about the road team and what they need to do to win. Number one, just start fast. Don't allow the New York Jets any type of confidence. Score in the opening drive, 3 and out, get some points on that second drive, really set a tone for what's going to happen for the remainder of the night. That's the number one thing they need to do. Number two thing is just stop the run. They got Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook, and just force Zach Wilson to throw the football and beat them that way. That's going to be the number two reason why the Chiefs are going to secure a victory tonight. Looking over on the other side of the ball, looking at the New York Jets, the home team, number one thing is they got to convert on third down. They're 21%. To give you some context, some teams that are at 3rd and 11 plus, they'll lead the NFL in with 20% if you can convert 3rd and 11 to plus. They're 21% with all of their third downs. That's 3rd and 2 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 10, and 11 plus. They're obviously last in the NFL. And if you cannot get first downs against Patrick, you're going to have a long, long night. Trust me on that. Number two, the Chiefs are going to score. All right, they're going to score. So you have to find, what can Zach Wilson do? How can he move the football? Are there creative ways to do it? How can we get first downs? Do we have to run them? Do we have to bootleg? I mean, Nathaniel Hackett's going to have to bring out all of his tricks because this Chiefs defense is playing at a higher level than people are giving him credit for.
For some reason, when you say Nathaniel Hackett has to bring out it just doesn't scare me. It just doesn't scare me. And I don't want to disrespect the coach, but it just doesn't scare me. Now, I want to start straightforward. Because I believe tonight we're going to have an ugly game from the word go. So, Sia Najad, Counselor of Cash, you have one very simple pick, and I absolutely love it. Start us off.
It's so simple, and my explanation is so simple. So it actually, I kind of fear it, but this is one of those picks you don't want to overthink. Obviously, some sharp money is coming in on the Jets, but I don't like it. I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs minus 7.5. This was at 9, then 8.5, then 8, now 7.5. I just think this is a mismatch really across the board. I mean, Phil's keys to the game, I think, are really important. Can the Jets establish a running game and get Zach Wilson in 3rd and short? I'm not so sure about that because we know Kansas City probably going to load the box a little bit and force Zach Wilson to beat them up top. And on the other side of the ball, listen, the Jets defense is really good, but you can only bend for so long to support your offense that isn't doing anything. At a certain point, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, they're going to exploit the middle of the field. That's how you attack the Jets. And I just think they're going to be able to put enough points on the board. I look at Patrick Mahomes' passing prop. It's 275 yards. It's not like it's 225 and they think he's going to get shut down. He is going to pass for some yards. He's going to pass for at least a couple of touchdowns. I don't see the Jets matching them in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs minus 7.5.
Full transparency, if you buy it down to 6.5, which I already did 3 hours ago, you can get it for like minus 140, minus 150. I think that's worth it, even though I don't think it's going to matter. But I think that's worth it. By the way, Kevin in the chat says, if the Jets win tonight, I will shave my head on early edge tomorrow. Guess what, Kev? Me and Coach Phil will also. How about that? We will also. Now, there is a guy, and I said this last week. He's my favorite new name to say in the NFL. And Proppy, you absolutely love this cat. Who am I talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about former SMU Mustang Rashee Rice, the rookie wide receiver on the Kansas City Chiefs. Been very impressed with him. I like him to go over 25.5 receiving yards. His role in Kansas City's offense has grown each and every week. He's coming off a season high 51% route participation last week. Also, a lot of those were coming before the game got out of hand, signaling to me that it wasn't a product of garbage time. I think there's a good chance that he's beginning to eat into Sky Moore's job as a starting wide receiver. Certainly his production would lend itself towards that. I've been very impressed with Rice. Like his chances tonight. Last week, he was the second highest graded rookie, according to PFF. I think his role continues to grow. I think he easily eclipses 26 receiving yards. I'd play this one up to 30, 32.5 even. I think he's going to get 5 to 7 targets tonight and continue to just keep forward momentum going.
And we know how much the ball gets spread around all the time from my man. By the way, another little nugget, because I got a ton of them tonight. Patrick Mahomes has only played the Jets one time ever, 2020. What do you think he did? How about over 400 yards, 5 touchdowns? And he's never played at MetLife in the shadows of New York City. You don't think he wants to show out? You don't think he wants to show out tonight? He does. Proppy, go.
One thing I wanted to touch on, the Chiefs have been excellent in pass protection this season. PFF has them rated as the #1 pass blocking unit in the NFL. The Jets certainly have a good defense, definitely a strong secondary. But if they're unable to generate pressure, it's going to be a long night for this Jets defense that has been vulnerable down the field, giving up big plays. So if you're going to allow Patrick Mahomes time in the pocket, he's going to tear them apart down the field, in my opinion.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I also have another little nugget for everybody. When you're talking about defenses and holding people down, the Jets have scored exactly 10 points the last 2 weeks. The Chiefs' defense has allowed 10 or fewer the last 2 weeks. This is an absolute mismatch, as Sia said. Now, eventually, because I'm working on it behind the scenes, we're going to get Coach Phil's keys to the game up on SportsLine in an article at some point. It's not there yet, but I have the luxury of having them several hours ago, because I know somebody. And that's why I have 3 official plays tonight based off of what I read 3 or 4 hours ago. I'm going to go Zach Wilson, longest completion, under 30.5 yards, -110. Can anybody tell me how many completions Zach Wilson has this year over 29 yards? Oh, wait.
2.
Anybody else?
1.
0. Absolutely none. He hasn't gone over 29 yards at all this season. Shocked? I'm not. That's play number 1. Then my other 2 plays, this is about Phil saying they're going to score, and they're going to score a lot. So I'm going to go first half team total over 13.5. It's really, really important you get it under 14. It always seems to matter, especially in halftime bets. I think the Chiefs come out fast, gas pedal down, and they want to show out to everybody. National TV. You got to remember that. Then in the team total for the game, is this a typo? 25.5. Are you trying to tell me that the Jets are going to hold Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to less than 4 touchdowns? That's not going to happen. This could be the easiest 3 plays I make all year, and it's not going to be close. Now, AB, I know you had some fun today. I know you dug deep and you went down and you had some fun. And I don't want to sit here and make fun of Zach Wilson all night long. But until he does something, what do we have to work with? What did you have to work with?
Let me tell you this. I've done a lot of no-fly zones. Zach Wilson's is the worst I've ever seen, and there's no hyperbole with that whatsoever. So let me go ahead and pull both of these up here. Let's start with your boy, Patrick Mahomes here. And I'll tell you, what we're playing is over 2.5 turnovers in the game. It counts both teams. So we don't have to play just one QB. But you take a look at Mahomes here, and Prop Stars mentioned it, okay? Pass protection has been great. The only times really that Patrick Mahomes has gotten in trouble is when 1, Kelsey wasn't on the field, and 2, he had to throw across his body to the middle of the field or throw it deep to the right. You look at the Jets here. If this is your first time looking at the no-fly zone, the top left is the defensive secondary completion percentage rankings across the NFL. Jets have good defense. You look at the bottom left here, Patrick Mahomes interception splits this year, and then you see Patrick Mahomes there on the right. So, like I said, we're playing over 2.5 turnovers for the game, and it counts both teams. Let's get to Zach Wilson. All right. So just take a look here and understand that the entire board is the no-fly zone. There are danger spots everywhere for your guy this year. 57, all right, passer rating, 52.4% completion percentage, 467 yards, 2 TDs, 4 interceptions. You see the top right. Now, we took it a step further. We charted every single pass that he has thrown this season on the right and on the left. Let's look and compare it here with Zach Wilson as a whole with his danger spots. And you know what? Look at it. It all aligns. And Coach, like you said, we spoke about in regards to quarterbacks and the 15-yard line, with Jordan Love. This is the 10-yard line for Zach Wilson. He does not have a large area to throw to at all. Deep middle of the field, they don't even try it. Deep right, they don't even try it. This is a 10-yard perimeter offense beyond 15 yards, only on the left, and 3.2. The league average is 72.5. This is a horror zone. So like you said, Kansas City getting up is absolutely the key. So let me pull this back down here, pull it back on myself so we can get the final part of the picks. Only 2 for me tonight. Like I said, we're going to play Chiefs, Jets, over 2.5 turnovers. That counts both teams, fumbles, interceptions, anything, you name it. And you know what, Coach? As we always do, you set them up, I'm going to knock them down. Give me the Chiefs second half team total over 12.5. But I really love the way that you're attacking the first half. That's the way to go about it. So those are the 2 that we have.
I love those. And I'm going to go to Coach Phil in a second. But first, I got to correct a mistake that I made. I told you I didn't mute my notes. I literally had the line read, and then the next line was blocked. And the chat called me out on it. I will own it. He doesn't have any of these. Oh, against the AFC and at home. Oh, forgot that part of it. He did have a long one to Garrett Wilson, 68 yards. But against the AFC, none. At home, absolutely none. And we all know how the weather and the wind goes crazy at MetLife Stadium. So when you, Coach Phil, see that ridiculous no-fly zone, what do you make of it?
How did they beat the Bills?
I thought the same thing today.
But seriously, that's what I thought about it. And I see a young quarterback struggling, especially in the confidence department. I see a defense who's having to take too many series because of too many 3-and-outs. They're searching for identity and they're trying to find a way to get a first down. I mean, it's just one of those things where you wanted Aaron Rodgers. He's hurt, and now you're on the national stage going against the Chiefs. Hey, you pulled the ones off against the Bills, so I'm sure they're rallying around that. But when you pull those graphics up that AB did, it's really difficult to understand how they would pull this one off tonight.
And let me say this real quick. You brought that up, Phil, in regards to the Chiefs defense forcing the Jets in the air. If they don't have 8 or 9 people in the box legitimately saying, we're going to give you the field, throw it. We are not letting you run at all. I don't know what they're doing. Like,
yeah, it depends on the set. So if they line up in a spread set, you're going to see 7 men in the box. If it's even condensed more like that with 2 tight ends, you're going to see 8 guys down in the box. That's a guarantee. Andy Reid, this is not his first day at the office.
Give me some of those nuggies. I love that new commercial. I love that. By the way, I don't know how you checked this, but AB, I know why you didn't play Zach Wilson over half an interception tonight. It may be the highest juiced interception prop in the history of the NFL. I saw it like minus 180, minus 190. Wow. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. It's so bad. Let me say this. It could get so bad. I don't know about tonight, but who's his backup? Trevor Siemian?
Yes.
Right?
I don't know. They signed him. Did they put him?
I don't know if he's been called up.
I don't know.
I don't
know who his backup is, but I'm telling you, tonight could be a horror house. Like, it could be ridiculously bad. We might not be far from seeing Zach Wilson get benched. Like, I'm just saying, it could get very, very bad for him.
Tim Boyle.
Tim Boyle. We could have been here all night. We never would have guessed that. Now, we've got to talk about some other big storylines going on in the game tonight. And Proppy, I'm coming to you first because if you are nothing, you are an Entertainment Tonight watcher. I know you, big boy. I know you. And last night in New York City, guess who had dinner together? Oh, one Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes. How about that? New besties, apparently, in New York City. So I'm assuming that it is true she will be here tonight. So Travis Kelce wants to show out. His number is 6.5 plus money, though, because I think the sports books also believe this will be a blowout, and he won't have to play in the fourth quarter. And then his yardage is 73.5. Longest reception, 21.5. Your thoughts on number 87 tonight?
Yeah, interestingly enough, with Travis Kelce, he's actually been a part-time player in Chiefs offense since returning from the injury, as a result probably of not wanting to put him at risk. But yeah, 58% route participation and then 68% route participation last week. Those numbers are typically in the 85 to 90% for him. So I'm a little uncomfortable playing his props, considering that he's not playing his normal allotment of snaps. So I'd lean over. I'm certainly not going to fade Kelce in this matchup. But yeah, I just would rather wait and see until he's inserted back into a full-time role before I can confidently play the overs on his props.
Yeah, it's probably a smart way to go about it. I know everybody and their mother is playing an anytime touchdown prop because they want to see him do that and do the whole bow and arrow thing like she does at her concerts, the whole thing. I did a deep dive. I know it all. Now, David says, I wish they would mention the SportsLine crew instead of Taylor Swift. I would be happy. All right, David, I'll text Mike Tirico. Say, hey, Mike, do you mind just mentioning my crew instead of the most popular pop star in the world? Let's see how that goes over. Now, Counselor, I'm coming to you. That's the biggest wide receiver, and I call him a wide receiver / tight end for the Chiefs. But on the other side, there is a stud who has a good attitude. He's not complaining yet. He's actually defending Zach Wilson. We'll see how long that lasts. But Garrett Wilson, his numbers look a little something like this. 4.5 minus 102, 55.5 minus 122. And for a lot of these Jets players, the normal props aren't even out. You can't even bet them because they're not even available. What are your thoughts on Garrett Wilson tonight?
I like Garrett Wilson a little bit. I actually like the over in both props, but I would lean towards the receptions because I do think they're going to try to get him involved early with some easy looks, really to get their quarterback kind of in some sort of rhythm, if that's even possible. So I think we're looking at 5 to 6 catches from Garrett Wilson. I don't know how much down the field we're going to see from him, but he's talented enough to get loose here and there. So for me, I'm not touching any Garrett Wilson props. If anything, I'd be on the other side. I love the Rashee Rice play, and I'm sure we'll get into other receivers as well. But yeah, Garrett Wilson over receptions, probably staying away from the yardage, though.
Okay, let's go quickly to Patrick Mahomes. And Phil, I want to come to you because when you have a game like this, and I know you can't go into it saying, well, we're going to protect our guy. You got to treat the Jets just like you would treat the Chargers or the Niners or the Eagles. You got to come in. But let's be honest. You don't play them the same way. We love to play Patrick Mahomes, his rushing prop. It's 16.5. I don't want you to comment on that. Just do you think Mahomes will use his legs at all tonight?
Yeah, I mean, the only person that everyone's giving so much scrutiny to is Zach Wilson. The rest of this roster is good. So let's kill the narrative that the Jets are not a good football team. They have a lot of good football players. So to speak to Patrick Mahomes and how he's going to move, those good football players, Quinnen Williams, CJ Mosley, you got Sauce Gardner, Jordan Whitehead, and Reed, the other corner. These are players that can cover and can run. So, and Patrick's creative. So, I mean, I like these types of matchups when the quarterback has some ability to be elusive and the defense has an ability to pressure the quarterback for them to escape and get the yardage. I do like Patrick. I think he's one of the best in the league at escaping good pass rush.
And when you talk about other good players, there's only one rushing prop, AB, for the Jets that I found, and that's Dalvin Cook. I honestly had forgotten that he was playing for the Jets this year until today. And it's at 38.5. The way the Chiefs defense has been playing, I don't know that there's a running back that will get enough carries to get to 38.5 for the Jets.
Yeah, look, I mean, we just spoke about it, and I'll leave us up on the screen so we can discuss. Like, if you're the Chiefs, I don't know what else you're doing than just saying, I'm not going to let you run the football. You can hand it off as many times as you want. I'm not going to let you run the football. You are going to have to put the ball in the air and beat me in the air, and I think that the Chiefs do that. So, I mean, look, you've got guys, Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, who are good enough to break one at any time. I mean, it's welcome to the NFL, right? But buddy, it is going to be tough sledding, man. Like, they're just going to have gap after gap after gap of just bodies out there. It's going to be tough. There's no way that I could play any rushing prop for the Jets. There's no way I could do it.
Boom. Proppy, and then I got one for you, Count. And then I'll come to you, Count. So Proppy, go.
Yeah, I think AB's spot on. Brees Hall does have a rushing prop. It's around 50 yards last time I checked. I actually like fading Dalvin Cook. He just looks to be on the decline as far as his best years are concerned. Lacks some of that explosion that he had, obviously, when he was a member of the Vikings. Just hasn't been running well this season. So, yeah, I actually like fading him quite a bit. This Chiefs defense is very stout up front. They're top 10, both EPA allowed per rush, EPA allowed per dropback. They're playing very good defense. As far as Brees Hall's rushing prop is concerned, I'm staying away from it, but he does possess the ability to take any touch to the house, just rips off huge plays, averaging nearly 6 yards per carry both this season and his career, despite playing in an offense where he's obviously limited as a result of not having competent quarterback play. But yeah, I'm staying away from Brees Hall props. If I were to attack them, I'd look at his longest rush or his longest reception over, just because of his big play ability. But yeah, I actually like fading Dalvin Cook quite a bit. I just don't see him getting a lot of work tonight either.
Boom. Counselor, go.
No, that was it. Alex probably just clarified it for all of us. So they do have some rushing props out for both of those running backs. It's 26.5 now for Dalvin Cook, 51.5 in most places for Brees Hall. Just an FYI.
Wow, boy, they're all over the place. All
Coach,
over the place. Yeah.
Can I say this real quick? Yeah. Phil was talking about in regards to Nathaniel Hackett being creative and getting creative. I mean, you're going to see the most creative screens and draws you've ever seen in your life. Yeah, like they're going to have to find ways to suck in the DNs and just go right over the top. Like it is weird as that sounds, of creative screens and draws, buddy. That's all you got. You're going to have to try it. Yeah.
So I'm glad you bring up screens and draws and things like that, because Proppy, every 3 or 4 weeks, I think you need to educate the audience on why you do not like running back receiving props, because there's a question that's in the chat. Over 8.5 is what Brees Hall's receiving number is, and they're like, it's got to be a lock, right? What do you say?
I'd lean over on Brees Hall. There are exceptions to the rule, but just as a general rule of thumb, I don't play running back receiving props. They're extremely volatile commodities, very high variance. Main reason being the running backs are typically not going to have plays designed for them. They're going to be the third or fourth read in a quarterback's progression. It's very hard to predict when he's going to dump off to said running back. They're all very attractive numbers, obviously attainable when we're just looking at 1 or 2 receptions necessary to go for 10 or 20 plus yards, but just very minimal edges when we're playing them, especially long term. I've been doing this for years, tracking all these results for years. I've yet to find someone who's shown me basically a long-term profit playing running back receiving props. So I just largely avoid them. That being said, there are exceptions. Those are typically running backs who have safe target floors, who are utilized heavily in the short area passing game as an extension of the run game. Talking about Austin Eckler, talking about Alvin Kamara, but guys just getting a couple of targets, very hard to count on when those targets are going to come to them.
Okay. Coach Phil, I got to come to you. And by the way, this discussion is so good. We've already crossed the top of the hour. That's how fast this show is going. It's 8 o'clock in the East, 5 o'clock in the West. If you're brand new or just dropping in like a lot of you do at the top of the hour, this is Primetime Early Edge. All of our odds presented by BetMGM. We are powered by SportsLine. Last week, 10 different receivers, Coach Phil, caught passes from Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to read a few names. Outside of Kelsey and Rashee Rice, what's the third guy that will have at least 3 catches? Let's say 3. Because Sky Moore had 4 in the last game. Marquez Valdes-Scantling only 1. Jerick McKinnon had 3. Isaiah Pacheco had 2. Justin Watson had 2. He just spreads it around. Give me a third name to keep an eye on tonight.
The 2 guys I'm really looking at is Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I think he's got a guy who's got great speed and great size, and then Sky Moore is another guy who's on the ascend for me. I think those are the 2 guys that can contribute. They're developing, and Patrick takes a little bit of time to adjust to these newer targets. You know, Juju Smith-Schuster's not there anymore. You know what I mean? Tyreek's not there anymore. We know he's been there for 2 years. So, like, Patrick just takes a little while because he's so nuanced with his accuracy and where he wants the receivers to be, you know, and the timing of everything. So, you know, MVS and Sky Moore are the 2 guys that I think could have a huge impact tonight.
All right. Very, very good. All right, gentlemen. Oh, yeah. Probably go.
Without anybody looking, this is open to the chat as well. There's a trivia question or an AB nugget. Who is the Chiefs' leading wide receiver this season?
Leading wide receiver.
Who has more yards than any other Chiefs wide receiver, including tight end?
Hilaire? He didn't have
We're
any.
talking
Justin
just
Watson.
receivers, right?
Or tight end. Their leading wide receiver is Justin Watson, yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah.
wow, I didn't even know that. I'm a Chiefs fan.
Randy
I can't
Watson.
keep track of these receivers. I mean, it's like you're not going to have anybody other than Kelsey catch 100 balls. But, man, is their offense good. Their offense is good. And, look, the chat's just like throwing names up there. Berg Betts is in the chat. Good to see him there. He was lightning. I don't even know why I choose the word lightning. He was very, very good on the weekend shows on the early edge. All right, so we are 3 minutes past the hour. You know what we do? This is the fun portion of the week, fun portion of the program. And alas, we are into week 4, and there is only one person that is sitting in the club. He's getting very, very lonely. And if you are new to our show, this is where we pick the first touchdown of the game. It has to be plus 1,000 or higher to qualify. You're not just going to pick Travis Kelce tonight. That doesn't work. All right. I want to know who your picks are. Put them into the chat. Counselor, you've already cashed. Let's call it 1 3/4 times. How about that to be fair? To be fair. But you've only got in once officially. Who do you like tonight?
1 3/4 is the new 3. I guess that's the metric system. I'm not 100% sure what we're doing there. Listen, what's really interesting about tonight is one of the props I was going to come to the show with was that Rashee Rice prop that Proppy submitted. I love that. I co-sign it. I think he's going to get loose in the middle of the field, caught 5 of 7 targets. I think he's going to be on that pace this week too, maybe catching another 5 of 7 targets. One of those targets is going to, in fact, be a reception in the box, in the end zone for a touchdown, and it'll be the first touchdown. Give me Rashee Rice plus 1,800. Lock it in.
This is a true story because I think we've told you guys how we pick. It's first come, first serve. Proppy takes this so seriously that when Sia sent in Rashee Rice today, it wasn't 30 seconds. And my man Proppy says, whoa. I've already claimed Rashee Rice. And then you can almost see in real time oh, no, that was my receiving prop.
Yeah, that second email was even better.
Never mind. LOL. Never mind. All right, Proppy, who are you going with?
I had such serious FOMO when Sia submitted that pick, even though I'd already submitted my gem pick 2 hours prior. That's how much I liked it. So tip of the cap to Sia as far as that's concerned. I will not be upset if Rashee Rice gets Sia in a second time, but I'm going to go Breece Hall. It's rare to have a starting running back playable in this range. Typically, they're going to be less than 7-1 odds. So taking the chalk, going Breece Hall. This guy's absolutely electric, dynamic. He is a threat to take it to the house every time he touches the ball, even though he's on a snap count, not 100% healthy. You couldn't tell when you watch him run. He's absolutely dynamic. So I'm going to go Breece Hall here at plus 1,200, I believe.
I almost went contrarian, too. I almost was going to pick Zach Wilson just to be funny. And I was like, no, I can't do it. I cannot bring myself to do it. Philzy, where are you going?
I'm going with Sky Moore. I think with the versatility and the position flexibility, the way they use him in the motions, and the fact that Salah is from a 3D cover 3 zone type team, which allows some of the screens and some of the RPO things to happen on the perimeter. So I believe that Sky Moore has this ball in his hands down in the red zone. I think he might get in.
I think he might get in, too. Leave it to AB. Leave it to AB. Explain yourself.
Yep, and I'll tell you what, I was the first one to respond on the email chain about 7:30 this morning, and I love this play right here because, number one, I don't even know if the Jets on their first drive even put the ball in the air. They might run it 3 times and punt. That being said, if they do that, the Chiefs are taking that punt at about the 50. If they even get the punt off, I think my dogs are coming on that punt block. Everybody's bringing the house because, as Phil and you said, Coach, you know what? Starting fast and starting quick and building a lead is detrimental to the Jets. So, yeah, give me the Chiefs defense here.
Go ahead, Phil.
If you get a safety, if they get a safety, can we give them the gem?
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
You know what?
I mean,
That's fair.
There's 5 of us. If you think it's fair, raise your hand. Oh, Sia says no. All right, we got 4. Sorry, majority rules. Or else I was just going to say yes because ultimately I call the shots. But so if it's a safety, from now on, if it's a safety, and somebody picks a defense, we'll count that. But
It's
only
just
if they
more
pick
fun.
the defense. Only if they pick the defense. Great
I
call
like
by
that.
you, Philzy. Now,
It incentivizes to take a defense as well.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good point.
right. I mean, if you would have had the Cowboys today, you would have cashed like 3 times. Damn. Now, another quick trivia question. Do you know who scored 2 times for the Chiefs last week against the Bears?
Jerick McKinnon.
Ding, 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 ding. Probably I knew you'd have it. 2 times last week. And I saw a little interview. It's little known. Not too many people have seen it, where he actually said the taste for the end zone was so good, he wants to do it again tonight.
Oh.
True story. I wouldn't go look for the interview. It's going to be hard to find, but that's what I read. That's how I interpreted it. So I'm going to take plus 1,300 Jerick McKinnon to find the end zone again first tonight. I don't care if it's in the air or on the ground. I'll take either one. Just cash my ticket. Now, we have about 7 minutes before we really get the game going. So we're going to go around our best bets. Then we're getting the hell out of Dodge. Proppy, talk to me.
Yeah, we're going Rashee Rice over 25.5 receiving yards. I played this one up to probably close to 29.5 receiving yards. He's emerging in this Chiefs offense. Very impressive rookie. I think eventually he's going to end up being Patrick Mahomes' secondary target behind Travis Kelce. I think he easily eclipses 30-plus receiving yards tonight, though.
Counselor.
Yeah, what feels like kind of a sucker bet. I'm taking the much better team. And to Phil's point, listen, the Jets have a lot of pieces, but when your quarterback is Zach Wilson and when the other quarterback is Patrick Mahomes, it's just not a very good setup. I think the Chiefs prevail by 10 or more.
All right. And RJ White, he believes the same thing, too. He's on the Jets team total under 60.5 minus 120. You could have got that pick at SportsLine if you are a member. I got 3 big plays tonight. Very simply, I think they're going to score a lot in the first half, and I think that's going to lead to over 25.5 for the game. Then Zach Wilson, he will not have enough time to get it down the field to Garrett Wilson. We're going under 30.5 yards for his longest completion. AB, bring us home.
Yes, sir. Chiefs, second half. Team total over 12.5. Let's get a touchdown, 2 field goals. Ice this thing up for KC. And Chiefs, Jets over 2.5 turnovers, minus 125.
All right. Now, do not forget, we are back tomorrow night. Prime time, early edge, regular time, 7:30 Eastern time, counting down Monday Night Football. Now, all of you know I like to end every one of my shows asking my guys, my crew, what's the number one most important thing you're looking forward to? Knowledge is power. You got to have the information. Proppy, start us off.
I am looking. We saw AB's chart for Zach Wilson, how ugly his passing metrics are, especially when he's just unable to complete passes down the field. I'm curious what kind of game plan the Jets come out with, because if they're going to be competitive in this game, you're going to have to be able to move the football through the air. So just very curious what we see from Zach Wilson and just how long his leash is as well. If he comes out and falls on his face, he might not be playing the second half.
You could be right. Counselor.
I'm literally picturing him falling on his face for some reason. I don't know why. But listen, I think the Chiefs are obviously one of the best teams in the league, perhaps the best team in the AFC. There's obviously a few teams that have something to say about that. But I do expect a second receiver, I should say a second pass catcher behind Travis Kelce to emerge. And I think it could be Rashee Rice. It could be Sky Moore. Probably not. It's interesting that Justin Watson leads this team in receiving yards. Somebody's got to step up. And it could be that rookie Rashee Rice. That's what I'm looking for tonight.
All right, AB.
Yep, 2 things. First, Zach Wilson, watch the 10-yard perimeter and in and out. And number 2, if you're the Jets, how you can neutralize holding calls. Watch holding calls tonight on both offensive lines, because if the Jets could get pressure on the Chiefs and get them bouncing back 10 yards, that could help them. If the Jets offensive line is getting hit with holding calls, it's a wrap, son. Oh,
It's a wrap, son. Coach Phil, bring us home.
Yeah, I think one of the stories that no one's talking about right now is Kansas City's defense. They're 6th in the league right now, 4th in the league in scoring, and they're doing this without Nick Bolton, who's awesome. All right, Chris Jones is back. I like Karlaftis. He's a good player. The young linebacker room is just absolutely flying around. The secondary's taking the ball away from people. So for me, we got Steve Spagnuolo, who's traditionally, and Coach, you know this, they've had middle of the pack or defenses that have struggled, right? So, and that's always Patrick kind of bailed them out, and we were waiting for the defense. That's not the case this year. This is a very good defense. So coming into town at MetLife against Zach Wilson, they might have a chance to put up some good numbers.
You couldn't have said it any better. And what I'm looking forward to tonight is Patrick Mahomes showing out. This is one of those situations, ladies and gentlemen, where you're in New York City. It's literally the capital of the United States when you're talking about entertainment and sports. You've got a guy who's never played there before. and he's arguably the second greatest quarterback right now. He wants to come out tonight, show up, show out, and show the entire world on a day when nothing made sense. He wants things to make sense tonight and show the world I am the absolute very best quarterback in this league. That's what I'm looking forward to tonight. We will see you all live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time, then live tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. My crew is the absolute very best. So with all that being said, there's only one thing left to do, and I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of the Sunday night football tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, damn it, do I love them all. Coach Phil, AB, the counselor, my man Proppy, and the snake always hovering around. I am simply the coach trying to get this train on said track. We grind for you so we can win with you. It's truly what we're all about right here at Prime Time Early Edge. Good luck.